Good morning, Shadrach. Morning once more.
Morning.
We are going to have a lesson on Fareme. Others are going to join us as we are moving on. The last time on Fareme, we talked about the betrothal of Mary and Joseph. Today, we want to talk about Khadijah and Muhammad. We want to look at Khadijah and Muhammad, okay? That's what we want to talk about, the betrothal of Khadijah and Muhammad, okay? So we looked at the Christian background. Now we are looking at the Muslim background. In Fareme, we look at all the religions, okay? So that we know who is Khadijah, who is Muhammad, what happened in their story, okay? So I am going to read a small text on Khadijah and Muhammad. Please, may you listen. If you cannot hear me properly, please say so, okay? All right. So we said, why do people get engaged before they get married? We said a betrothal is an engagement. So how important is an engagement to a couple? Okay, so now we want to talk about Khadijah and Muhammad. Muhammad did not see his father because he died before he was born. Muhammad did not see his father because he died before he was born. His father's name was Abdullah. Okay, you can be taking down some notes as well. His father's name was Abdullah. Abdullah is A-B-D-U-L-L-A-H. His father's name was Abdullah, and his mother's name was Amina. Amina, A-M-I-N-A-H. Sometimes in multiple choice, these questions come. They might ask you who was Muhammad's father, who was Muhammad's mother. Muhammad was orphaned at the age of 6 years when his mother died. Sorry? Yes.
Nothing.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Muhammad was orphaned at the age of 6 years when his mother died. He was an underprivileged child at an early age. And even if you find some new words that you need to ask, please write them down so that we can talk about them as well, okay? If there are new words that you need clarification for, please just take them down, and then when we are done, we can do a discussion, okay? His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather was called Abdul Muttalib. Abdul is A-B-D-U-L, A-B-D-U-L. Then Muttalib is M-U-T-T-A-L-I-B. M-U-T-T-A-L-I-B. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, raised him for 2 years and passed away. So which means his mother passed away when he was 6 years, and his grandfather, who was raising him, passed away, raised him for 2 years only. So which means his grandfather passed away when he was 8 years, and he also passed away. Muhammad was then taken up by his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu is A-B-U, Abu Talib, A-B-U-T-A-L-I-B. His uncle, Abu Talib. Though Muhammad was born into a noble family, there were no schools those days, so he learned lessons from everything he saw or heard. There were no schools, so he learned lessons from everything he saw or heard. He gave himself up to the study of life and nature. He gave himself up to the study of life and nature. He looked for deeper meaning of things hidden from the casual eye. The changing of day to night, idol worship, gambling, and cruelty to slaves touched Muhammad. Okay. From a young age, Muhammad learned to be courageous, brave, and to be a hard worker who was faithful. His faithfulness made him reliable and trustworthy in conducting business. Later on, he was employed by a widow, Khadijah. He was employed by a widow, Khadijah, who was one of the richest women in business. This is how Muhammad met Khadijah. Do you understand? So Khadijah was a businesswoman who was very wealthy, and she was a widow. And Khadijah employed Muhammad. He worked faithfully for his employer. He made lots of profits he made lots of profits that Khadijah's maid spoke highly of Muhammad. Khadijah believed that he would value her great qualities and not her wealth. So she sent him an offer for marriage. Do you understand? So Khadijah actually sent an offer of marriage to Muhammad. Muhammad was an employer of Khadijah. Muhammad agreed and requested his uncle to go to Khadijah's uncle to discuss the matter. You remember the uncle was Abu Talib. Abu Talib was the one who ended up okay. So she sent him an offer for marriage. Muhammad agreed and requested his uncle to go to Khadijah's uncle to discuss the matter. They were later married, and Khadijah was the first woman the messenger of Allah married. Okay, so Khadijah was the first woman that Muhammad married. Khadijah was 40 years old and Muhammad was 25 years old. Khadijah was 40 years old and Muhammad was 25 years old when they became attached to one another with great respect and understanding. It was at this age that Khadijah asked Muhammad to marry her. Okay. It was a happy marriage and Muhammad lived happily with his wife. To show that he loved his wife, he did not take any other wife while Khadijah was alive, even though Muslim men were allowed to marry up to 4 wives. So we are talking about the betrothal. That's why we are looking at Khadijah and Muhammad's life, so that when we start discussing, we can see the love that was there. Okay. This couple had children, but all the sons died when they were young. Okay. Their children and all the sons died. Fatima was the only surviving daughter of the couple. Fatima is F-A-T-I, F-A-T-I, F-A-T-I-M-A-H. Fatima. So they had sons, they all died, and Fatima was the only surviving daughter of the couple. Khadijah died first. Muhammad followed later, and Fatima died 6 months after her father's death. Unfortunately, the ending is not so happy, but I'm sure we are able to understand the betrothal of Khadijah and Muhammad. So Shadrach, please, can you tell me what is it that you managed to get from this story of Khadijah and Muhammad?
I got that Khadijah got married to Muhammad, and the wife was older than Muhammad, and Muhammad was younger than the wife.
Thank you. That is a good observation. As we're looking at marriages, because we are looking at different marriages from different backgrounds. If we look at the marriage between Khadijah and Muhammad, we understand that Khadijah was older than Muhammad. Muhammad was 25, while Khadijah, the wife, was 40 years old. But we hear that despite their age difference, Muhammad still loved his wife, and he never took any other wife other than Khadijah. And also we hear that Muhammad was an employer, okay? Muhammad was an employee, of Khadijah, meaning that Khadijah was actually a businesswoman and Muhammad was the servant. And Khadijah married, actually proposed the marriage to Muhammad, and Muhammad agreed. We also hear that Muhammad did not have a very good childhood. His parents died before, his father died before he was born, and his mother died when he was 6 years old. And he had to be taken care of by many people, was taken care of by his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, who also raised him for 2 years only, and he died. And he was later on raised by his uncle. His uncle was the one who taught him to be the kind of man that he was. We are also taught about his respectfulness, about his nobleness, about his goodness, and everything that he did. And we see his nobleness and his honesty and his goodness when we see how he managed to take good care of his wife, Khadijah. We hear that Khadijah was a wealthy woman, a wealthy woman, but Muhammad did not marry Khadijah because of her money. Muhammad married Khadijah because of the love that he had for her. And today we are talking about the betrothal or different marriages. This marriage of Khadijah and Muhammad is very important. Why is it important? Can you tell me anything that you see from this marriage that is important, Shadrach? Anything that you can see from this marriage that is good, something good that you can tell from this marriage, because we're looking at betrothal, we're looking at engages, we're looking at marriages. Can you give me anything specific that you feel was good from this marriage and why we are looking at it, why we are looking at this marriage as a good example of any type of a marriage?
It's important that Muhammad didn't take another wife.
Yes.
Why Khadijah still alive?
Thank you. That is good. Shadrach is bringing up, you are bringing up a very good point, a point of faithfulness. When we looked at Joseph and Mary, we saw the faithfulness that was there. So as we look at any Muslim marriage type, we see that Muhammad was a good example of a good marriage person, because we see him loving his wife despite their age difference, him becoming the youngest in the marriage, but he still loved his wife until the wife died. And we hear of his loyalty, and we hear that he was there for the wife through everything that they went through. He did not love his wife for her money, but he loved his wife for who she was, and the nobleness of the wife, and he respected his wife, and the wife also respected Muhammad until she died. This is a good example of why we are looking at this marriage of Khadijah and Muhammad. Okay, Shadrach, now we want to answer questions. Number one says, Muhammad was born into a dash family. He was born into a dash family. What kind of a family do you think Muhammad was born into? Any word that you can use to fill in there. Muhammad was born into a dash family.
Was born into a family.
What kind of a family? What
was born in a poor family.
A poor family, was born into.
Was born in a.
Yes, Shadrach, you can talk.
I say he was born. He was born in a poor family, and the family died when he was very young.
Yes, yes, every member died in that family. And as we see that family, we notice that this family was also a good family, because he was brought up as a respectful young nobleman. As we see when we are looking at his life, when we are looking at his actions, because we say that actions speak louder than words. So the actions that he made make us to say that he was born into a good family, although poor, but a good family that raised him well. At what age was Muhammad orphaned? At what age was Muhammad orphaned?
Muhammad was orphaned at the age of 6 years.
Yes, at the age of 6 years. Who had died at the age of 6 years, by the way, Shadrach?
His father.
No, the father died when he was. Yes, their mother, good. The father died before he was born, so he never got a chance. The father never got a chance to actually see Muhammad, and but the mother managed to take care of him for 6 years, and she also died. How are you treating less privileged children in your community, Shadrach? You meet a child like Muhammad who doesn't have parents. How are we supposed to treat less privileged children in our communities?
We give them food and we can adopt them if we want or go them to the orphanage.
Good. That is, you raised 3 good points. We give them food, we offer them food. Some people can adopt them. That is a good way. It's also another way. If adoption is not an option, they can also be taken to orphanages where they are going to be able to be given the love and the care and the support that they need. Okay, those are 3 good points that you managed to raise. Thank you, Shadrach, for that. We can also take them to school because we also say that empowerment is the best key. Empowerment is the best teacher because it teaches you to know how to help yourself. Okay, so we can empower them by taking them to school so that tomorrow they can also be able to empower themselves. If you go to school, you are able to help yourself tomorrow. Yes, those are good points that you managed to raise, Shadrach. How old were Khadijah and Muhammad at the time of their marriage? How old were they? You can give me the age of Khadijah and the age of Muhammad. Do you still remember?
Okay.
Yes.
But Khadijah was 40.
Yes.
40 and Muhammad was 25.
Yes, that is correct. They got married when Khadijah was 40 years and Muhammad was 25 years old. Okay, that's why we're saying there was an age difference gap there. Where also, as we are looking at this is an unconventional way where we notice that usually the males are the ones who are usually older than the women. But if we look at this type of a marriage, we see that it's an unconventional marriage because it is not a marriage that we are mostly used to, where we find the man becoming younger than the woman. Okay, yes, that's what happened. But still, we noticed that the love was there, the care was there, the support was there. Nothing was different from this type of a marriage. Okay, why did Muhammad learn from everything he saw and heard? Why do you think Muhammad had to learn from everything he saw and heard? Because he never went to what?
To
Can I assist there?
yes.
Okay, Muhammad never managed to go to school, you remember? So he had to just learn from everything that he could see and hear, okay? So if you look at the time of their marriage, he did not go to school, okay? There were no schools those days at all. And for a man, he did not go to school. So he had to empower himself by learning everything that he could see and hear, okay? He learned about what happened was the day and night, the idol worshiping, gambling, cruelty, and everything. Everything that he could see and hear was very sensitive to Muhammad. He was learning everything that he could see and hear. He was someone who was learning things from all around, okay? That was the type of a person that he was. And how do you think orphans should be treated, Shadrach? How do you think orphans should be treated? How do you think orphans should be
I
treated?
think orphans should be treated. I think orphans should be treated like your own child. I think orphans should be treated like your own child or son.
Yes. So can you explain, like if someone is being treated like their own child, is there anything specific that they should be that should be done for them? Maybe you can explain even more. There's they say I'm treating you, Shadrach, as my own child. What should I be doing for you? What is it that specifically should be treated? What should the orphans be given as well? If you have something specific that you can say as well, in addition to your statement, which is very, very correct?
You should give them shelter,
Yes.
food, and some other, and education.
So what you mentioned, Shadrach, are rights, yes. So all orphans should be given their rights. They should be given rights to shelter, rights to food, rights to education, health, all of that. They should be treated the same way. They should be given the same benefits that all the other children get from day to day. They should be treated well, okay, which means they should be provided with all the basic necessary things that they need every time, okay, which is that is good, Shadrach. Okay, can you give me, what should you do when offers are made to you? Let's say when someone offers something to you, maybe they give you shelter, they give you health, they give you education. What is your responsibility? What should you do when people offer, make offers to you? What should be your response, Shadrach?
You should thank them for what they have done for you.
Sorry?
You should be thankful.
Yes, that is true. You should be thankful. If we look at the story of Khadijah and Muhammad, we see him being very thankful. He was a child who was raised as an orphan. His father died before he was born. His mother died at the age of 6 years. And he was taken care of by his mother, who also died. Three people died under his when they were caring for him. And his uncle Abu Talib came to his rescue. But we see him not becoming a bad person or doing bad things. We see him becoming a noble person, a noble man who goes up to work very hard for Khadijah, and Khadijah actually likes how he's working, and Khadijah proposes love to him, which he accepts and loves Khadijah until Khadijah dies at the age, dies. And also we notice that Muhammad loved Khadijah despite their age difference. Khadijah was 40 years old and Muhammad was 25 years old. In summary, I hope you managed to understand today's lesson. Today's lesson was about Khadijah and Muhammad. We are looking at the betrothal, where we are saying a betrothal is the promise to marry. We're looking at the different marriages from different backgrounds. We looked at the marriage with Joseph and Mary. We are looking at a different marriage from a Muslim perspective. As we are looking into this marriage, we saw that every one of these marriages, we are taught about love, we are taught about faithfulness, we are taught about support, care, good things are being expressed in these marriages. This is what marriage is about. It's about being faithful, it's about loving one another, supporting each other until the end. This is what was expressed by Khadijah and Muhammad. We learned a lot as well. We learned also about orphans and how to treat orphans. Shadrach managed to give us good points about giving them the proper rights that they need, treating orphans in good ways, just like treating them like they are our own children. This lesson taught us a lot of things. We managed to get a lot of information about marriage and also about life. As we see Muhammad, even though he did not go to school, he managed to learn a lot and study about life and nature. He studied, looked for deeper meanings. He managed to understand things from a big point of view, an environmental point of view, and from every other hidden point of view. I hope you managed to understand today's lesson, Shadrach.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Shadrach, thank you so much for attending today's lesson. Have a nice day. I have sent work on Google Classroom. I hope now you are managing to use Google Classroom.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, Shadrach, have a nice day, okay? And bye.
Yes. Bye, teacher.
Bye,
I was
Shadrach.
wondering if you could, teacher.
Sorry?
I was wondering if you could come to my house. I'm going to send you the address on Saturday. It's my birthday.
Oh, it's your birthday. Oh, that's wonderful. Is there a cake there? I'm going to come and I'll try and come and have a piece of cake. If I don't come, Shadrach, so which means on Monday, you have to bring me my cake. Yes, you have to bring my cake to DLC. Yes. Happy birthday, Shadrach.
Okay.
Definitely on Saturday, I am going to call you and so that I can wish you a happy birthday, okay? By the way, how old are you turning on Saturday?
11.
11. Ah, that's
11.
wonderful, Jacqueline.
11.
11. Ah, you are now a big boy. You are now a big brother. I am definitely going to make plans for that cake. I definitely want that cake. Okay, Jacqueline, thank
Okay.
you so much, okay? All
Bye,
right.
Khadijah.
Yeah, bye. Please keep on reminding me, okay? So that I don't forget about the birthday.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.